Hi, My name is Joseph Casonso, and I'm here on Bonano TV on this Friday night show. We want to just talk about the current issues and news, and also answer some questions about some of the shows that we've done in the past several weeks now. Yeah, so it's an open show on Friday night. We just want you to be there and to be around and enjoy these discussions with us. My friends are going to be joining us shortly. And I do have Lady Sarah there in Washington, Seattle, and others are coming around. So please invite people to participate in this Friday night discussion. We're going to talk about our country, we're going to talk about Zambia, and we're going to talk about the things that have been taking place in the last several days. So, whilst you are there, share this broadcast. Whilst you're sharing this broadcast, I want you to not just bring in the people, but share it and tell them to come and participate as well. Um, and I see Benson Saili there in Botswana. Tell us where you are watching us from, and feel free to click on the link so you can join us in the studio if you like. And whilst we are waiting on others to join us, I want to just have some piece of Kalindula entertainment from Mulemena Boys. It's about Vakasea. Vakasea is I'll explain what Wakasea is after the song. So just share the broadcast. And we are here Friday night. We're going to have a wonderful discussion about the current affairs and stuff that is happening in Zambia. We'll give our perspective. And ours is grounded in not only reason, but in what is fair and good for our country. And once again, thank you for being here to watch us and enjoy Wakasea from Mulemena.
Bakasea ni bani, ni baba ni boba. Bakasea ni bani, ni baba ni boba. Abani kakua, aboba tumakara, abone sike kukano, amikanga ntome, ikamumaru, pati, sambenga. Bakasea ni bani, ni baba ni boba. Bakasea ni bani, ni baba ni boba. Abane kapua, aboba tumakara, abone sike kukano, amikanga ntome, ikamumaru, pati, sambenga. Shimwarure kwarara mama, shimwarure kwarara mama, tababwira ko shimwarure kwarara mama, shimwarure kwarara mama, tababwira ko Ikamo marwa pati sambenga. Ikamo muramu pati sambenga. Ikamo mwicho pati sambenga. Ikamo yaya pati sambenga. Ikamo marwa pati sambenga. Bakasea ni bani, ni baba ni boba. Bakasea ni bani, ni baba ni boba. Abani kapua, aboba tumakara, abone sikukano, amikanga ntome, ikamamaru, pati sambenga. Shimwarure kwarara mama, shimwarure kwarara mama, tababwira ko shimwarure. ikamo marwa pate pate Zambenga, ikamo muramo pate pate Zambenga, ikamo yaya pate pate Zambenga, ikamo mwisho pate pate Zambenga, ikamo marwa pate pate Zambenga. Do it, do it, do it. Duvira tutwe twarine baserera mu mahunga, duvira tutwe twarine baserera mu mahunga, duvira tutwe twarine baserera mu mahunga, duvira tutwe twarine baserera mu mahunga. Ikamo marwa pate pate Zambenga, ikamo muramo pate pate Zambenga.
Hi, I'm John Scasonso, broadcasting from the great state of Iowa in the United States on Bonano Broadcasting. Yeah, I have my friends here with me, Derek Mwape, Derek BM, and Lady Sarah. Derek is in Johannesburg, and Lady Sarah is in Seattle, Washington. Before I invite my friends to comment, first I need to tell you what that little piece of music means, because I have seen one great friend of mine from the Cape of Good Hope, Dr. Tobias, says Wakase is like wandering around, going everywhere and stuff like that. Um, the in Kika on the Wakase is a bartender. So that piece of music glorifies the bartender's job, and that the bartender is the one who gives the beer, and the person is drunk in a short period of time. They can't walk. They're trying even to fall down. Yeah, but the whole essence of having a drink with your friends is so that you can have a conversation, the chat. So that song is really about insakao, a chat with people over a beer. That's what it is. It's in Kikaonde. Fortunate for us, it's not in Chibemba. So today, what we want to do is just to discuss the current things that are going in our country. We may touch on things that have to do with money. We may touch on things that have to do with politics. We may touch on things that, but one of the things that we do not like to touch on here is discussing individuals or personalities. We know that every human being has a positive aspect to their lives and a negative aspect to their lives. So we are not a social media group that is going to be discussing what is going on in an individual's life. If they are falling apart because they lost a wife, we all have lost some, or if someone is just trying to get some notoriety by saying the most outrageous things against the president. That's not what we're about here. We're a constructive group that is trying to insert a reasonable discourse in the affairs of our country. So let me greet my friends here. Let me say hello to Lady Sarah from Washington. I don't know if she's here. Lady Sarah, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi. I'm
Uh-huh.
good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm super fine. It's snow.
Vyepi.
It's snowing kuno. Ngiokoko kuchivyepi.
Kujimvura pakete. Antesha.
Yeah, when snow falls
But
down.
it's sunny. It's sunny. It was raining, showering in the morning, but it's sunny now.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's white all over the place. Even our cars are covered in snow. So
Wow.
I'm driving to the grocery store yesterday, and then someone said, "How isn't it beautiful out here?" And I screamed, "Yeah, it's beautiful, but the temperature is ruining it." And they blew up. After the store blew up and they said the temperature is ruining it. It's actually very, very cold out here.
Okay.
Beautiful, Lady Sarah. It's very good to have you here. Let's
Thank you.
before we launch the discussion, let's also speak with Derek in Johannesburg. Derek, where are you?
I'm around. How are you doing?
I'm fine, my friend. How is it going there? I have been told that the spirit of Lord shedding in Zambia has come even to the Republic of South Africa.
So far as load shedding,
Yeah.
yes. You must remember one thing. In as much as we are developing Africa, we this is Africa. So when it's dark, there's good things that happen in the dark as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What's on your mind on this current affairs? What's going on in the Zambia? What do you want to talk
Uh, can you hear me?
about? Of course.
Look, what's happening so far as load shedding, if that's what you're asking? That's what you're asking.
I know we're moving from load shedding to the current affairs, the news, what's going on in the Zambia that concerns you.
Oh, yes. What's going on in Zambia? The one who is trending in Zambia, Wakasonso, is Chameleon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know, the musician Chameleon. You know, he's had a bad situation in his life. Things haven't been working out. So he found himself trending, you know, by the taxi drivers. I think they're called, is it Yango? It's like Uber anyway. And apparently it's been owing those, you know, taxi fares and all that. So things turned out to work out for good for him out of that challenge of him failing to pay the taxi drivers, as we may call them.
That's a very sad problem. How is the little guy doing over there? I tell him I miss him. He has grown. I saw him.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not even supposed to be in the camera. That's why I'm trying very hard to not disrupt the show. And my mind is all over the place. But anyway, we are here. Thanks. He's doing all right.
No, thank you. So, Sarah, mom, but comedian I meet you Zambia.
Yeah. Thank you. So it's good that he's coming out of it and things are working well now. But I can tell you a story about Chameleon. He's one of the people that really inspired me with his songs, especially the song Kakabalika.
Okay.
You know, yeah. Pardon? No. For me, why I want to talk about this, and I want, if only you can listen to this program today. I already said thank you to him when I met him in Kitwe some years back. I called him and I hugged him and I said, your song really did something magic to my life. When I lost my husband, when my husband was killed in 1997 and I was pregnant with my son now, one of the songs that really lifted me up was Chameleon's song, Katabarika. Wimona Makumbi, you know, Kufita, whatever. It really lifted me up. Each time I played it, my spirit was flowing. I couldn't look back and I said, for sure, you know. And also Don Moen, you know, God will make a way. Those two songs, they lifted me up. So if he's listening, I'm saying thank you. And I would want to reach him and maybe give him something like a thank you, you know. I would love to reach him. If there's a way of giving me his number, I would love to talk to him.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. That is a sobering story, Lady Sarah, there. And, you know, it's a powerful testimony. You know, these guys, they don't know what even they do. They just write instinctively.
Exactly.
Yeah. And one of my favorite songwriters in Zambia is a guy on my right here, down here at the bottom. I find sometimes myself, I'm in the shower and I'm just yelling and screaming one of the childhood songs that he wrote. There's a way in which some music is able to soothe our experience as we're going through the hurdles and the hardships of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what was on Derek's mind. So, Lady Sarah, what is on your mind regarding the current affairs, the news, and what is going on in Zambia? What are you thinking about and what are you concerned about?
What I'm concerned about is the way things are happening in Zambia and the way the people are coming out on our dear president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. You know, he's just in power for less than 2 years,
Hmm.
and people, they've ganged up. I don't know what they were expecting.
Hmm.
Like, just within the 2 years, he should do a lot of things, miracles. And even our own, the UPND, our own people, they've turned around and they are talking about the youth empowerment. And that's really on my mind. And I don't know who is saying the truth and who is not saying the truth. So we need to talk about this. I don't know really what's going on because there's a lot of bickering in the country. It's like the UPND, some of the UPND have turned to be opposition already. So I don't know what really is going on.
That is really truly concerning, and I think we should try and create a proper perspective here about about that. Yeah. So Sarah, there is a way in which our country needs to understand change through government. I think that we have adopted for ourselves a culture where we're looking to government as if government was God.
Yeah.
That's one, because we can't just say, oh, the people are bad towards the president, but we have to try and think through the uh, ideas that we have about what the government is all about and what the government should do. The people who really dug a big ditch for the country is the Patriotic Front. And there is something
Exactly.
really basic and simple that they did, which was not constructive. They went and used the national capacity and power to borrow for structures that can't generate money for the country to earn money from other countries. And the string of how money moves is what now this government must correct. And they are truthfully on the right track. They are attempting to correct that. Yeah, but ukusta understand indala mashachalo ni samushi. Elo abengi nga mulebe kushana ku secondary school insamushi nga shaisa bale doja. So nomba 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 bala kwata shakpe.
My God, that word doja. It's a long time I heard of that.
But if pour out frustration on the new government. The new government has only been around for a year. And from everything that we have scanned through, they have some way in which they are doing things the way they should be done. In fact, some things that they have done, if we had continued with the Patriotic Front, we would have been at -10 instead of +10 from where we were. So it is very important for the government machinery to open up and express regret that the citizens are not experiencing the paradise in 1 year. But that paradise in 1 year should have not been in the first place expected. She shouldn't have been expected. No country can change its economy in 1 year. No economic benefits can come in 1 year. Maybe ababale pangasa nechongo, nibadaba 1 million. I know that number 2.8 kutiba achita kontwani kanifili because of the expectations. And abantu nga baleta struggle. Takuli kubeka tapaka no kubaleka balanda. But from what we are hearing, Vasera, it's the normal part of governance. Ukuingira pabuteko teko kuti kamwaingira pabuteko nomali konse oko mwakulaya abantu bakulasha nawe. In my mother's village, they taught us in Zambia that kumbali kutukwe mfumu. Kumbali kutukwe mfumu. Which means is that when people are by themselves, they must be able to have the liberty to insult their leaders. Because sometimes that's all they have to vent their anger for their own personal frustrations. But what we can't do is to take those ventings and those insults and turn them into the regular political discourse. That is not constructive. Is the government working on things that will help the country? Yes, they are. Is the government constrained by the past bad luck date? Yes, they are. Is the Patriotic Front the answer to those problems? Therefore, Derek, and then
Yeah, I like the way that you've explained, and I wanted also to just greet Madame Sarah, Lady Sarah. Sarah.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, say it, yeah.
Find me Chameleon's number. Find me Chameleon's number.
I'll try to do that.
Yeah. Sarah.
Find me Chameleon's number by Derek, if you can.
Yeah, we'll work on that, Madam Sarah. Jones?
Yes, sir, Derek.
Yeah, for now, I've got an audience with me here. I've got my small family member here. So okay. I'm on the listening side at the moment. Let's pass the question to Lady Sarah.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that, Derek. Yeah, take care of the young lad. And he's saying daddy, but there are many daddies here. He has more than one. So you tell him that we are here for him and comfort the young man. So Sarah,
I think the government is trying, the new dawn. It's trying its best, and we've seen some fruits. There is free education, and we have a lot of things happening. Our government, the president himself, there's some dignity in the country. There's some love. There's also less fear when you are moving. Even if I'm not in Zambia, my family is in Zambia. I've got a daughter in Zambia. I've got my brothers and sisters. There is sanity in the country, and we cannot say within 1 year everything should be done there and then. That's impossible. It's very impossible. So I feel that the new dawn is trying, but it's okay. Those who are like, putting checks and balances here and there, it's fine. But it's not just good for them to attack one individual, Mr. Haka in the Ichilema. Like you have already said, it's not easy to sweep the date that was done by the Patriotic Front. It's not easy. They did a lot of damage to our country, a lot. Actually, the way they did it, it's like that's what they did to the country. They just left the bones, and then Mr. Haka in the GM is trying to heal this, this animal, to feed it in the good nutrition. No. You need to give injections here and there, vitamins and everything. That's when now you start, seeing the person, thriving, or a child thriving. That's what our economy is doing right now. We are getting the medicines, he's injecting here and there, so it shall be well. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I think I totally agree with you. The story of these massive elections and deliverances, it reminds me of a biblical story. They are in Jubilee, and they are leaving Egypt, and they are going to go to the promised land. And as soon as they arrive on the highway, on the desert highway, there's no water, and it's so hot out there, and they feel stuck. They can't move into the land because the people who live there were giants, and all they started was complaining and whining. And in fact, the next thing that happened immediately was they wanted to elect a leader who will take them back to Egypt. So when I think about the story of our country, that's, I think, what I feel is going on. They
Yeah.
forgot, just because of short temporal inconveniences on the highway to the land, on the highway to the dream, they started missing cucumbers and T-bones in Egypt, and they wanted to go back. So it kind of mirrors some of the noise that's coming from Zambia, because so far as I'm concerned, the Patriotic Front was not an option for the country. There is no way that this country, so conceived in liberty and freedom, can go back to the Patriotic Front. The Patriotic Front is not an option for Zambia going in the future, because we just liberated the country from their shenanigans. They drowned the nation in debt. They closed out all democratic space in the country. They started using guns to kill the people, and they made corruption normal. So they cannot be an option in the immediate. So it's like the children of Israel trying to vote for someone to take them back to the Patriotic Front. But this country is not going back there. This country is not going back there, and this country is moving forward. And because this country is moving forward, we need to be quite nivana chimbosa ukupele nkosho kuchalo nokwikatirira. No, the future for this country is brighter than we are aspiring. The steps that this new administration is taking are exactly what we needed as a country to be able to make strides towards our destiny. If we had continued with the Patriotic Front, most of the national assets would have been taken over, and other assets that are not even under those loans would have also been taken over. Probably we would have a deputy high commissioner at the Chinese embassy in charge of our government, because they couldn't even negotiate for the dates that the country owed. So, but this country is reigning, this government is reigning on all that. So there is a need for the people to understand the stage in which we are in the process to improve the conditions of our country. So let me invite Dr. Mtale to contribute his ideas on this topic. Dr. Mtale, ku Cape Town, load shedding hapa mwaisen.
Mkwa mulishani tata.
Nditaye
Mulishani wa Derek and wa Lady Sarah, how are you tonight?
We are good, thank you. And how are you?
No, we are fine. It is just load shedding. Currently, as you can see, my picture is not so clear because we are actually in load shedding, and internet is not so stable. But please, Dr. Kasonso, what are you discussing now? Because I was on and off.
We are now facing a question on whether the Patriotic Front is a constructive option under the circumstances.
Construction, an option under the circumstances.
Yes.
Look, you see, what I think myself, Dr. Kasonso, is that for a party to really be important for Zambia at present is actually to offer the proper checks and balances. So the question we need to ask ourselves is the PF offering the proper checks and balances? What I think is they are doing that, but to a very minimal extent. I think that they are more on the defensive side than actually offering the checks and balances. In any democratic state, we need political parties, we need opposition parties. But these opposition parties must have the tools to be able to check the government in power, so that the government in power can perform even better. I think, in my own opinion, the PF, if they have to reach that stage, they need to be objective, because they are just being too negative sometimes, for nothing. I think what is important is for them to be objective and to offer proper checks and balances. And it is not going to help really to defend corruption. Like, about the selling of the jet.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have all seen that, the jet was bought, and it is a proceed of corruption. And being a proceed of corruption, I think the current government, the UPND, has shown that the jet was purchased through corruption, and because of that, they are trying to get rid of it.
Yes.
Now, what I see is, that the opposition party is trying just to be defensive. It is not going to help for Zambia to develop if we are being defensive, especially on the issue of corruption. I think we need to have, a political party that is going to help the UPND to fight corruption. So if you ask me, Professor, whether the PF, is the right political opposition party at the moment, I would say not really. They need to. I think they need to forget that they were in the party and become a party that will offer proper checks and balances. I think that's what I think for now.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Mtale. I'll have a comment on that. Derek, did you want to say something about that? Yeah.
I'm in the background. I'm still in the background because I've got surrounding noises here. I'm parenting. So so far, I'm happy with submissions that have been made by other members, on the platform right now. I'm enjoying this, but I'll be commenting when I can. But Tobias Mulishani, I've got children here, so let me not disturb.
Okay, Mulesu Ngabana. That is good. That is good because,
Our brother, the great pastor in Johannesburg, is babysitting. So, Pastor, mreto ntanga kusani feranda va chinga va mta.
Oh, Valanda Fiwino, where the opposition is being defensive, because the problem which is there and which has been in Africa, politics is politics of hate. It's like personalizing things, attacking, even where you know that this is not an individual doing. You want to attack the individual that is in the ruling party. So what he has said is very true, and until such a time that they stop being defensive and offer good, checks and balances, things will never be okay. Corruption will never be fought. Because corruption is like a cancer. You remember Mr. Levi Mwanawasa, he used to say, this is a very big cancer that can eat the country. And that's what has happened with Zambia. And I call them TF, but anyway, I call them a different word. I don't want to use it here
No,
on
you can.
social media.
You're welcome to use.
Yeah. So the corruption itself, how we're going to do it, it's very difficult if those who are checking on the government, checks and balances are being defensive, like what Dr. Mutale has said. So they need to come up with a strategy on how to, to help the UPND fight corruption. Because me, I was born a long time. I know that you, Jones, you are my young small husband. Since I was born,
Narunda, matendeka kukosa mama.
since I was born, and my mother was a politician. That's why I always talk about politics. She was a mama region there in Karurush at one point. So since I was born, I've never heard where a big fish is being investigated and then vamwikata vamutwala ku jail. I've never heard anti-corruption doing that. I don't know if there is any that has been jailed by the Anti-Corruption Commission. I need those that data. I need it because I've never heard. Oh, you Alice Fungempia Pashi Vamwikata Milo Adi free. I don't know what happens. It has even happened now with Faith. Is it Faith Musonda?
Mm-hmm.
So you find the person who steals the 200 kwacha is jailed. Those who are like vale vachita investigate vale jafe bwino vale na muma shopping. So what happens? What is the Anti-Corruption Commission doing?
Yeah. Thank you, Sister Sarah, on that score. Yeah. So the reasonable position we have on the issue of the PF attempting to become a constructive opposition in the country is that there are challenges in their corner, that there are issues. We've identified issues here that they must be able to resolve. The first one is that the mess we are trying to fix in the country was in the first place created by them. And because of that, they didn't have solutions then. They don't have solutions now. They need to go back and attempt to dissect the folly of their policies and come up with alternatives on how that can be resolved. The Patriotic Front has not done that. Secondly, Dr. Mutale has mentioned the issue of defensiveness. What we are seeing from the Patriotic Front is that they are going back, and whatever this government is doing, their interest is just to defend themselves. We, the people of Zambia, have not forgotten that this was the government that bought a 250,000 worth fire truck for $1 million and 42 of them. To date, they have not explained where the difference between the 250 and the 1 million per fire truck went. So when this government tries to operate, all the Patriotic Front is using the small mandate they have in parliament is to defend their misdeeds. So that cannot lead to effective checks and balances. Checks and balances means that we are able to look at a policy objectively. Is this going to benefit the country? And we come up with the numbers to defend the reasonableness of a particular direction. But that, to the extent that is not forthcoming from the Patriotic Front, the Patriotic Front is really in a highly challenged position. They decreased democratic space in the country. They started using guns to kill people, and the country was all in tension. They created the government, a Zambia, that was only for one quadrant of the Republic of Zambia, the northeast quadrant. And that's what they did. Now, they have to sit around and see that we have to be able to be a country and involve everyone from every corner for the advancement of the society. So for us, the Patriotic Front needs a lot more reform than that they need before they can become a constructive alternative. So I think we have to jump to another issue. So Dr. Mutale, what else is going on your mind on this Friday?
On this Friday, what's going on? I think it's the jet issues. Maybe the jet issue by the Minister of Defense. Maybe we need to speak about that. It is also trending that I think the PS who was involved in the purchase of the jet was called is it Steady Mwale? And he was involved in that tender, which was given to the Minister of Defense, costing about 574 million, from which the the jet was bought for 70 million, and other things that were added to the jet itself amounted to about $194 million. So the debate which is there now is that to sell or not to sell the jet. Some are saying we are a poor country, all we have is this jet, and now the UPN government wants to sell it. And so that's the kind of debate is going on there. So perhaps what we need to speak about is what we think about the selling of the jet. Perhaps I would like to hear your views before I
Thank you.
add on to.
Yeah,
Okay,
I want to say
okay,
something.
Yes.
thank you. Okay. Lady Sarah, first, okay, you come before I go. You come before I go.
Okay, yeah. So Ramtale, I just picked something that you said that some are saying that we are a poor country, so why is the jet being sold? So what is the benefit of that jet? If we are a poor country, what is it doing? What value is it adding to our country?
Well, if I have to answer that, Lady Sarah, some are saying that, look, when you buy a property like a jet, it is a very expensive property or asset to have. Therefore, when you sell, you won't sell it for a profit. And I think it has been mentioned in several places that this jet won't be sold for a profit. Now, if it won't be sold for a profit, it means that we are going to lose to some extent. So that's why those who are saying that we are a poor state are saying that is their argument. But on the other side, the argument is this was a proceed of corruption, but also not only a proceed of corruption, but it is also very expensive to maintain. If you have seen that brief that is circulating on the social media, it is actually stating that it costs millions of dollars for the country to maintain the jet. In fact, the state is saying that they will need to sell the jet and get a much cheaper jet that will serve the same purpose and will be maintained at a cheaper cost.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, Dr. Mtale, now I can comment.
Yes.
Usually on these matters, I come, someone even, I was on another platform where they accused me of having a textbook approach. Well, when we go to school, textbooks are the ones here that are used. So if something is not in the textbook, he's probably concocting up a corrupt scheme. What we normally do in making decisions as managerial accountants, there is what we call relevant costing systems. So in relevant costing systems, we try to come up with the costs that are going to factor into a decision and those that are irrelevant. And in that model of decision making, constructive business decision making, using in the principles of managerial accounting in constructive management, one of the costs that we don't use to make a decision are past costs. They are referred to as sunk costs. So that's those costs that we have already incurred are not going to influence the decision we're going to make forward. That decision is not going to have business sense. So what we have to consider are costs that are current and costs that we can anticipate in the future. We can also consider opportunity costs. So if government is saying that they must sell the jet, I think that one of the most valuable leads to that decision is that when you buy an asset of that nature, it is tied to certain contracts. And those contracts are part of the ongoing cost of maintaining that. So if you bought it corruptly, it means that you must continue to maintain it using those same networks and those some corrupt networks. And that is where it does make sense for the current government to recuse itself of those type of relationships, number one. And two, to the extent that the cost of maintaining the aircraft can be avoided, that is something we can make a decision on. If we are spending $2 million on maintaining this aircraft, can we get an aircraft that, first of all, doesn't involve us pouring out a whole full range of cash the way the Patriotic Front foolishly spend money on? When you buy those type of assets, you have to use some form of hire purchase where you are paying some as you go. Because at some point, at some point, you can let go of the assets. If you're not able to maintain it, and if you're not able to let it, it can go. So those are purchase options that were not considered because the people who were making those decisions were not financially savvy. Oh, balechita muleke kushagala kabwa mbetwaleta kuba chatinali yako.
Kesa ko akasonso professor kesa.
Kalaka ko ati mwabika echimupiri chelobe fiero mwabika kwa kamuti. Ero murefu nyako tumalo batali yako.
Okay, yes, I remember.
Ero nomba pada last. Uriyo waisari yako ero kalaka muti kapona kumuma sana mbende things like that. Ewa lile fiance. That is the way the PF were governing. Bali ni banali yako. You know, so everything pakafevariemo. That's what that musician referred to. So they focused on becoming rich through doing deals on behalf of the government. So they are in the government and they are creating these deals and Emma deals area, Emma Valeria. So even when their friends have come on government with a different philosophy, they think that's actually what they are doing. So they are screaming corruption on different platforms, and there's no substance to anything that they are screaming about because that is their modus operandi, that's their worldview. They think that being in government is about Nariako. So in my view, the decision to sell, the biggest factor in there is to recuse the government to recuse itself of two things. Number one, the pre-existing contracts to maintain that corrupt deal. And two, the costs of maintenance of the aircraft are very important decisions. So that even going forward, we can learn as a country, how did an aircraft costing $70 million cost us so much money? Everybody, fire truck here 250, probably 1 million. So we're not going to government, and that is where we need to nip this in the bud. And this government needs to lead the way. President Hakainde Hichilema should continue to maintain the dignity of our republic in the financial realm and in financial circles. So mukwaika wachishefe chideke na militaries kukasa mabali lombela chichechi chideke wakachishtishe wakatulipile pensioners. But when militaries very pile chideke po chidi. So tuwetu ayashtisha chideke mkwaiwa mtani. Tushiteke wakachipileko. Indeke mkwaiya kwenda mufyo muntu moyo iteke chalo infini $2 million yote timu supply eko ba youth nefi ashara fimbi. That is why we keep telling them that government should be run like a business. Because it can't just be about spending the people's money. And after we just spend $2 million for the service jet. Ero mwa mkulombaka pia yo watupele kwa lupia. Aba mwe mkulombaka bali milo chafe. Tufi bantu fi pube fye. Kama pia ko mlepo sakulia. Ngamra mkasunga. Ngana kununga tamushile ko mkulomba. So we do have this opportunity in this country to be able to exhort financial prudence where decisions are being made using constructive business principles.
Yes, now, Dr. Kasonso, Najla Tonton Kanyeri Mulelanda, what you have said is very true. I think it needs to be sold. It needs to be sold because of maintenance costs. We can't maintain it. and it cost us a lot of money when it was bought. It was kind of the conduit for corruption. And what we see in Zambia generally is that most projects, especially the projects that were tendered just before the last 3 years before the PF was out of power, was that they became the conduit for corruption.
Yes.
Like, for instance, the roads, the bridges that were made in Lusaka, now the jet, and many other projects that were done in Zambia, they were the conduit for corruption or for corrupt deals to be processed and for people to put money in their pockets. Now, what do you think, Dr. Kasonso? How are we going to stop this evil? Because it seems to be endemic in Zambia that we cannot stop corruption. Tenders are the way people eat. It is like we kind of make what we normally say in Bemba, Uwomba Muibala, Alia Muibala, we make it possible through AMA tenders. It is through tenders that we steal money, or it is through tenders that money is stolen.
Yes.
How can we improve this issue? I know the government is talking about right price, something, the projects delivered at the right time, and all those that you economists and accountants speak about. So tell me now, how are we going to stop this corruption?
Thank you so much, Dr. Mutale, for that powerful lead into the next phase of this discussion. You know, people abaufa kalipinda kwa tubomba mwibala lya mwibala. Nalilembelepo na article, but mwaibenga article muntu andika ni mu Lusaka Times. But PF banshiri defense le kunshi because nalibonfekele ne okuba kalipira. When their president said ubomba mwibala lya mwibala. Ubomba mwibala lya mwibala. It has three components to it. If you apply it to current business models, nebona kulile kumushi 1980 na 1990 nali kusanfi eko mufuire iliyopindo ubomba mwibala lya mwibala. Andilo naishile copper belt from 1990. I still had it on the copper belt, and in my entire life experience from Italy. Nalimfuaka le akalipinda kachita evolve in meaning kulingana nokubalea. Now, in that article, I explained those. Now, I will try to explain and share that view even here on Bonano. First of all, ubomba mwibala lya mwibala. It is an honorable phrase. It's an honorable phrase, and it's an honorable insocelo.
Yes.
It's an honorable to say that you can also attach it to another one, which was called Akachilakambushi Kasengulapo Keke. So, you, the person who your first preoccupation is farming, your bread will come from there.
Yes.
That's one. And two, it means that your fringe benefits will come from there also. The Bemba speaking tradition did not condone stealing.
No.
But when you come to the copper belt, when people were working in industries and in the mines, they introduced a pernicious component. Ngabali kulya kunchito. Company ni Dunlop Zambia ishtisha mataela. Elo vaketula kwe taela vaisa ishtisha konganda. The phrase that would also be used in those cases was nishibabo ababomba mwibala valia mwibala.
Yes.
Now, subsequently, the transposition of a rural adage when it is brought amongst law-educated people, they converted it to mean appropriation, inconspicuous appropriations of personal benefits. Meanwhile, ukuibapo, it's like appropriating some of the benefits of the company to yourself. What we call in my field fraud. And unfortunately, when their president said Ukubomba Muibala, that is what he was referring to. So he was giving his people a license. But that is pervasive. The Bemba speaking people of my mother's, they spoke Bemba in my mother's tribe, although they're not Bembas. They're Bemba speaking. They did not approve of stealing other people's property because they were saying your benefits and your livelihood will come from there. Now, what are the benefits that will come from there? It's a salary and also fringe benefits. That
actually meant, it actually meant that one must work very hard, so that from your work you can realize your well-being. I think that's what it meant.
Yeah, that is what it meant. Now, coming to the other part, how can we stop this? I think it's very important that we've had a different tradition help to spearhead the country, because the traditions of our fathers were misrepresented under the past regime. Benanga bayashita jet ya 70 million pari 500 million. Kariakari pamulu balia naba nabo nishibabomba muibala, ababomba muibala balia muibala. But we are bupupu baba mtali. And upupu were never condemned. Abapupu bonse kumushikwa kumumishi abamayo konso kulando chibemba. Bale batwala na kumulima chipuba. Ero bambi kalenga no kuma 1800s. Ebo bale ishishana mubusha. That's why it was saying because fish kulura fyabo.
No, kubateta bumakungutu.
So what we need is a strong legal system that is just going to not tolerate corrupt practices. Yeah, and whether in awarding contracts and how we operate as a country, because there are significant losses that happens, Dr. Mtale, when we take the path of corruption as a way to live as a country. Nalanda sana nshishire mukushimikira pa basera kwele niponi.
Piken po baredi sera barande konabo pari corruption. Evo twinga ichefia.
Ndechita enjoy kumfara kasonso na vamutale muleranda but everything they were missing anyway valetsungira omwana
ba babysitter.
So corruption is a very, very dangerous thing to happen in society, especially like you are saying, and for sure, Professor Namulanda Kechishenka. It's the benefits, because that we are benefits. It's where you are, that's where you're going to get the benefits. That's what it really means. But while if you quite, kuivamo, because ubomba muibala, so kuivamo, you steal from there. Like Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu told his people that ubomba muibala, timwadia, but not kulira kumone mbuto. But Edgar, it was something else. Very shameful to get that from a leader who is leading the people and just destroying the country like that. So corruption, it needs to start from an individual, as us, the people of Zambia, and not only the people of Zambia, the people of the world. As an individual, when you start thinking, how is it going to affect my country, my other generation, my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren? What are they going to remain with? But especially in Africa, we don't think of legacy. We don't think of what are we going to leave behind with our generations to come. That's why we destroy things like that. Mkasango muntu alikuwa tendalama, but alenu enough. I can give you an example. There are those young men who used to work in Kajim Emerald Mines. Nakulira kwankana inikudaka. I was the first, only girl that finished grade 12 in 1984. The only girl and 4 boys from that area going to Karu. Twalenda kuya Karu 1 hour 30 minutes. Going to Karu Secondary School. So what I'm trying to say is that these guys, they were working Kajim Emerald Mines when it was very heavy there. Ngababeula money. They will even wash their vehicles using moss. Bashtama creative moss. Very something you talk. They will even go paran can by Edinburgh, Napankana Hotel, book rooms. They book rooms. If I got to Ayaku that time, is Pemelo Yash, they call that, but two sisters, Mukito Mudia, Tulimu Saluni no Moicho and Mudia. We are young girls, you know, in our early 20s. You hear these girls rise, these girls, you know, they're even calling each other, hey, naturally, the pachulu, just go in the room, shan, whatever, sanga, so and so. One of them was mentioned, who was my relative. The home, but feeding these people. He died a poor person, no house, no nothing, but he used to have a lot of money.
But
So it's because exactly. I mean, you know, but we don't think, what I'm trying to say is that we don't think of our generation, the ones that are to come. If I destroy this, what about my great grandchildren? What are they going to benefit? And it's not just your great grandchildren, the country, as a country, the people that are coming, won't say collectively, your children, Kasonso, my children, my grandchildren, and other grandchildren, the people of Zambia, what are they going to find if I destroy this? This is what our leaders don't think of. You have only one room, a bedroom, but you are building by stealing so that you can under 48, you know? So what if you have those houses 48? What are you doing to the country? You are destroying the country for the future people that are coming. So we don't care. That's the problem. We don't care of the other generations that is to come. That's why there is corruption. Because if you cared so much, you cannot steal. Thank you.
Dr. Mtale.
Queen our Red Sailor, she has spoken the truth, especially our emphasis on sustainability, that if we steal, we are not thinking of our future generation. And I think it's true that our mentality is for our people is that they are only looking at the present. What can I do at the present? I can amass a lot of wealth for myself now and use it for myself, and I am not thinking about the future generation. But I think is we need to start to kufunda abana abale because if we are not teaching our children, especially about corruption and what it can do, then we are not doing something good for future generations. I think what we need to do in curriculums, we have concentrated so much on social studies and these other subjects that are important, but perhaps the topics that we are dealing with as a nation, that we are contending with all the time, like corruption, they must be in our curriculums. We need to speak about this evil from not only from our homes, in our villages, vakasonso kumushi amapinda limbi aletu afuirishako ukukana iba but nga mwafuka kumushi mwaya mutauni at life yachinja bana msonda baya mkulombena makubucha it was all corruption. a corrupt mind, because really we believed that in our Makumushi you had good values, you had good morals. Why do we steal then? Is it because of poverty? Are our people not given enough money where they are working? Maybe this is also a big problem. I think our governments, it's high time they started appreciating the labor that our ordinary people offer. Labor is so cheap in Zambia such that people do not earn a salary that will give them proper livelihoods. I think if people had enough money in their homes, perhaps we would, with good values, perhaps we would not be falling into the temptation of being corrupt. Yeah.
Mutale,
Yes.
there I tend to differ with you.
Mkwai.
I tend to differ with you, Doc.
Mkwai.
Because why I'm saying that is that even the people that get less, salaries, they don't even get such much corruption. Why should a minister, an MP, steal? Do you know how much they are given? They are the most corrupt people, most of them. Abo batwala kuma koti ni banani? Oh, ba ACC bare bachita nani kani? What do you call investigate? It's the big people, the people who have a lot of money. Vena chitotela badia.
Yes, but I would also ask, but then I would also ask Baledi Sarah, assuming that these people came from homes of good values, good parents, taught them good manners, not to steal. But where does it all go wrong? Nipe sachishila mkushupila o mukona ikila. Where does it really start?
Okay, what I'm trying. Sorry, let me finish off. He has just asked me that question.
Okay.
Where we need to teach our children, there I agree with you totally. It's true, and it was even on my mind that we need to start teaching the young ones about corruption, the evil that corruption has on the economy. We need to start teaching them. Where I'm not really I'm agreeing with you everything, but not 100% on wages. Quite all right, wages can be improved. But what I'm trying to say is that why should the minister who is in parliament, who gets gratuity, who gets the good allowances, why should he be corrupt? Why should he steal? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, lakini nembike po nchenchekere kona ineka msalo wape nembike buka onyonyi pamulo msalo yomu Afrika. Unena alikwete kwa shuko ukuya bombako kufyalo fya balungwana kuma Dubai na kwa Abu Dhabi. Kuti washo olupia petebo wala volupia petebo. Wa isabwela walusanga. Kulya kuntu kwali befunde lyako bati nga bakwikata bumutongo tisanguka kawalala sakala nyongo batu bya tikawalala afifu baigla batu bya kuba chati kawalala kwata machina nga bakwikata efyo kulya baputula kofye amaboko so people have to choose between stealing and keeping a limb. And ukuboko kwali kwate. Ukuboko kwali kwate chuko. Kuti wako bo very multiplicity of ways. Nomba ngatakuwa tuwaiba ka 200 dirhams. Kabiri currency yaboko kwacha yaboko ya ku UAE by 30 dirhams. Ngawaiba kala ka dirhams zero bako putra kwa maboko. Nomba ukayabomba shano kufaya dirhams yambi. So people have to choose. So what I'm trying to say here is the bigger secret here is ubuteko tabufu yokula shinshikiro kupanika bamungo. obuteko tafuna okola shinshikira okukaka abantu ekyo kyashupira okukaka ba PF because they legalized corruption balifite time tuma deals elo ubuteko bwachita approve nomba ubuteko bwalesa achita an approve shani elo baikatepo bantu bala baikata shani. So that is why I think that this country must never return the patriotic front to the government. We know what we went through under the patriotic front. I know personally what I went through under the patriotic front government. They don't have a plan, they don't have a program, they don't even have the character as a party to create thriving morals for our country to move forward in the 21st century. So ine bamutale kulingana ve netontongana yandi nasanga pofio kwevati kuli akwina kuli bakapokola bamashinge na bamobailo ekuli nkama ya kule chefyanya kwa upupu mushalo. Ama punishments for stealing should be very, very stiff so that a person has to measure kusalapo ukuboko ngwakadala makamwini wasalapo ukuboko alentien evamtale pose.
Yes, no, you are very right. But you see, the judiciary is also to blame in Zambia, because one of the bad thing, I'm not a lawyer, but I think I understand a lot what goes on there, is that in a democracy, lawyers, they are very good at defending thieves. I think kulya mulelanda ku Dubai nakumbi ekyo tabebira bantu abantu balabaputula efimbombo baba ni wamakunkutu. And the reason why that works, it's because the police bakapokola, then the judiciary, na all the security sector bali katana. And yes, they are organized and they are working for the development of a country, Dubai. Na yonse aliaku ama Arab Emirate country kuliaku kunani kane ku Asia or Middle East. So they are really working together to eliminate corruption in a proper way. And you see their religion, they take it very seriously also. And it goes hand in hand. Like Filafine Bale Putula Makunkutu Kulubemba Gachakwe Waiba Ukuputule Fimbombo. So takwali ubupupu because of that. Ati bakusange uleiba kalundwe mwibala lyabakantwa. Takwali ifyo, because people were afraid, and because of that, people worked very hard to earn a living. And those days, if you were lazy, you had a certain description. Kuisa kutana if yakulya tushe yale lokela mukakopo. So I think I saw the president HH. He was in Livingstone with the entire judiciary. They gathered there, I think last week before he departed to go to the US. And I believe a transformation begins with this institution called judiciary, because they are the people defending corruption. And you have seen if you are PF bale babwesha ngababe katakuli ba ACC ba ACC ba Anti-Corruption Commission ukubatwala kulya kunani kane kuchile cha milandu, they come back triumphant because they have been defended by the judiciary. And we say this is democracy. I think there must be a limit now, especially with the judiciary. They must be taught to say you can't just be defending the wrong. Our country is not going to go forward if these people continue defending the wrong all the time. So Baka Pokola, Baliabe mini na musebo kula tuiminika checking our security bafwiri okuleka ukupoka amafisa kanwa bafwiri okupoka tuliotupia bapoka pa musebo bakapokola bafwiri okula ikata abapupu nokubatwala kuma courts abena ma courts they must convict them and put them in jail until they pay the last penny.
Emkwaiva Mtale, Dr. Mtale. So now, my friends, we have come towards the end of this discussion. We'll pick it up tomorrow on Sunday.
Can I say something?
Yeah, but we are going to get a last comment from each one of us. Okay, so let's start with the lady.
Okay.
Ladies first.
Okay, thank you so much. It has been a very good program, but I just want to talk about the same Mtalefe Bachitanda, the last words, where Wakapokola should make sure that Tabalisenda Mafisakanwa. But I remember at some point in my 80s or early 90s, where it was stiff for you, a citizen of Zambia, as an individual, to corrupt the police officer. You also be charged with that case. So it was a little bit less because everybody was seeing. At one point, I was on a bus, and then the bus conductor tried to kuponye mpia panshi, and the police officer stepped on the money, and he was just looking, whatever, and the bus started up. Then I told the conductor, now ponye mpia panshi, wakapokola na banyantapu. Yahweh, no, officer, can you move? Because I work for anti-corruption. So if we can take it upon ourselves and guard the police officers on the road, because we started ourselves. Now, Shimoto Kechaba defect. You want to pass and you want to give this police officer who doesn't have a meal at home. You are getting money, you are giving that police officer. So I think it's both ways. Even us as citizens of Zambia, we need to protect them as well and protect our country by, refusing to corrupt this police officer who is hungry at home. That's what I can say.
Thank you, Lady Sarah. But Derek, last number.
Kwena, going by what has been said here, our ninjukuta na alafu mapo waikuta. And I'm happy to hear, such a reservoir of information from the greats on this group. What I just want to say is that I'm wearing a UPND t-shirt because they are the governing party and they deserve all the support. And I think we have to come to that point where even if you didn't vote for UPND, when it comes to what we want to build in Zambia, we have to give them a chance and give them the support. And one can go on to wear a UPND t-shirt, not because you are UPND, but because you have to give that moral support to the governing party at this point. Because if they get everything right, it's going to be to the benefit of all of us. Now, if we diaspora,
yes. Thank you, Derek. And I have noticed that you want Zambia to go forward. So kukwela bonse pampando UPND. Atakawerevo pampando akawelela kwesa natuika lapo. Thank you, Derek. And Dr. Mtale, your concluding remarks.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kasonso, for this wonderful session we have had. First of all, I would say that the PF must offer proper checks and balances for the nation. This is good not only for our party, UPND, it is good for the nation. So they must forget about themselves and help to give the nation proper and checks and balances, because that's what democracy demands. Secondly, the jet must be sold. It is a liability to the nation. We must get rid of it. There is no question there. And lastly, corruption must be rooted out. It is a cancer that we cannot afford. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mtale, for that beautiful summary. I don't need to regurgitate the summary, just to tell our viewers, watch Bonano TV, follow us on Facebook, and subscribe, and also go on YouTube and watch these educative programs. We are citizens who love our country, and we are consummate professionals, and we're not doing this for anything else other than the love of the country. And so
Malaiti yaisa.
oh yeah, isama light number Cape Town, yeah.
Malaiti yaisa.
Mwamona ukulisa kumkulanda palisa ama light ku Cape Town yaisa firstly
Yaisa.
lekeni abantu bayamone baerapo itapuisha kulanda malai atina yeso ku Cape Town mwamona hivyo nomba po
Malaiti yabwera mugwayi.
yabwera na Cape Town so mule kwata load shedding ku Zambia mule ilichanya
Yeah.
pand na Cape of Good Hope na kwata load shedding. So there is something that needs to be resolved in there. And the way to resolve national problems is not to be constantly whining or ukutumama shirupa social media we are decent people in this country. And some of us have even got school and we subscribe to professionals of it. When I come here, I don't talk for my employers. I don't talk for all the associations that I'm affiliated with, but I am a bona fide member of all of those. And I owe them at least the opportunity to conduct myself in a manner that is worthy of my engagement with them. But I don't represent them here and I don't represent their views here. Here, I am talking about my country. And my country is one, Zambia. And I thank you all for watching us tonight. And we are going to continue tomorrow. And we will talk this Christmas season nearly every day. And my friends will be here. The wise people. I want to thank Dr. Mtale from the Cape of Good Hope and the man of God, Pastor Derek Mwape, our favorite musician, according to Vasera, from the Johannesburg, and our Lunda wife from Seattle, although she was Mushaka umekulubemba bamutalekala. Thank you for watching us. We'll come back tomorrow.
You're going to be my Ben 10.
Thank you. Thank you.